All right, what's up? Let's take a look at finding the inverse of a quadratic function. I'll have several different examples. Each will have its own video, so check out the other ones. Though they're all a little bit different. So let's see what we got here. We got f of x is equal to x minus 5 squared plus 3 for x greater than or equal to 5. All right, so before we get started on this one, let's just talk a little bit about this restriction here, x greater than or equal to 5. Why is it there? Well, if we sketch the graph of this thing real quick, the vertex is here at 5, 3. It opens up, okay? Now, x greater than or equal to 5. Well, if we look at the function, at the quadratic function as it is, if we draw a horizontal line through it, notice it intersects in two spots. So that means it's not 1-to-1. So that means it doesn't have an inverse. But what we're doing here, by having x greater than or equal to 5, we're restricting the domain of this thing. So we're only using, see, this is 5. We're only using x values that are greater than or equal to 5. So that means we're not using that side of the graph. And now you can see when we draw a horizontal line through it, it's now 1-to-1. Okay. So this right here will come in to be important at the end of the problem. We'll talk about it some more. But that's why it's there, to make this function here 1-to-1. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we'd want to do is take the f of x and change it to y. So y equals x minus 5 squared plus 3. And then we swap the x's and y's. And so that's going to give me x equals y minus 5 squared plus 3. And then what do? Well, now we solve for y. All right, so first thing, I'm going to subtract 3 to both sides. Okay, so that's going to give me x minus 3 equals y minus 5 squared. All right, then we have to do what? Use the square root property. Okay, so I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So that's going to be y minus 5 is equal to the square root x minus 3. Now, remember, we've used the square root property. So do not forget to put plus or minus. Okay, you have to put the plus or minus. All right, and then what do? Well, now we're going to add 5 to both sides. And so this will give us 5 plus or minus the square root of x minus 3 is equal to y. All right, so I've got two solutions here, 5 plus square root of x minus 3 and 5 minus square root of x minus 3. So let's rewrite that up here. So I've got y equals 5 plus the square root of x minus 3, or y equals 5 minus the square root of x minus 3. All right. Now, here's the question. Which one is it? Okay. All right. So this is where the restriction comes in. We want to know which one is f inverse x. What does that equal? Well, if you look at this, we've got x is greater than or equal to 5. Well, what is this? Well, remember in the graph that I showed earlier, when we looked at this graph, what we did is we restricted the domain of this function. So what we're saying now is this is the domain of our function. okay, which is x greater than or equal to 5, which that's the same thing as 5 to infinity if we write it in interval notation, right? So remember, the domain of the function is the range of the inverse. So this this right here is the range of the inverse function. So which one of these is going to give us a range of 5 to infinity? Well, hopefully you can obviously see that it's this one. Because remember, whenever you take the square root of a function, that's always 0 or positive anytime you take the square root of a number. Okay, take the square root of a number, it's always 0 or positive. So if I have 0 or positive and I'm adding it to 5, well, 5 plus a positive number, that's going to give me numbers larger than 5, which is in this range here. But this one, if I take 5 minus a number, that's going to give me answers back here to the left of 5, like 4, 3, 2. That doesn't fall into here. So we know this one's not a solution. Our only solution is 5 plus square root x minus 3. And this is your inverse. So I hope that helped. Check out the other videos. Give me a like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.